What's going on? What's going on, y'all? What is going on? Listen, welcome to another edition of the Go Hard or Go Home podcast show. I am your host, Shedah3, and I have a very special guest today who's going to be doing some amazing breakdown or hacking of the travel and credit card world. Now, listen, this is going to be so powerful for you because I tell you, when I was this is going to be so powerful for you. Because I tell you, when I was all right, my bad. We doing it live, y'all. We live here today. Listen, so when I tell you guys, I got something special for you guys. First of all, if you're tuning in for right now, you want to share this out with 10 people and comment done. Also, let me know what city and state you're coming in from, so we can make sure that we bring this person out with a great round of applause. But before we do that, y'all know what time it is, right? It's time to go hard or go homeless. Let's go.
I remember being homeless. And that's the moment I decided to go hard.
All right. Listen, I am super excited, y'all. Let's go. What's up? What's up? Listen, I'm super excited to bring this guest out. But if you're listening on the podcast, or you're listening live, or you're listening on the podcast, and you want to attend these shows live so you can ask the guests any question you want to ask them, make sure we go live every fourth Sunday of the month, okay, with a new guest. So make sure you go to GH Podcast Live on every fourth Sunday of the month to tap in live to be able to ask questions to these amazing guests that I'm bringing on. But I want to go ahead and start to move out the way and bring up my guest. Listen, this woman is amazing. I met her in these circles, right? These circles, I met her in the Hit 500 circle. I met her in these circles where high-level playmaking plays are being discussed that you are not going to see on YouTube University. You're not going to see this on these different avenues. You've got to actually be in the room to meet the people that can take you to the next level. And one of them rooms where I met Sheeda. But here's what I liked about when I met her was she said something when she goes out, and I'm gonna talk about it in a minute. But she said what she does when she goes out to eat that blew my mind. And I need you guys to understand. This is one of the most powerful interviews you guys are going to hear from. So I'm going to move out the way, and I'm going to bring up my guest, Sheeda3. Let's go, out of New Jersey. What's going on, Sheeda? Welcome to the podcast show.
What's up, Trolls? You can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. What's going on? Everything. Welcome to the Go Hard or Go Home podcast show. I'm super excited to have you on. I'm honored to have you on. So we're going to get right into it because I know the people want to know exactly what is the travel and credit card hacking. Before we talk about that, let the people know who is Sheeda3, where you're from. Let's go.
All right, y'all. Welcome, everybody. Hello. My name is Rashida, but everybody knows me as Sheeda3 on IG. And I'm essentially a travel hacker, credit card hacker, 7th grade math teacher, all up in one, right? So my 9 to 5, I am a 7th grade math teacher. So anything that I teach, I always teach it in a way I'm teaching my kids. I've been teaching for 7 years. It's going to be my 7th year actually teaching math to middle schoolers. So my approach and my style is a little bit different because my audience is always going to be different. I've been travel hacking since I was in college. Actually, didn't realize I was doing it till I started actually combining it with the credit, and I was able to maximize that. And outside of that, man, I just love teaching people how to actually, just leverage it to get whatever they need. Because to be honest, if you get it for free, why not?
Yo, listen, let me tell you something, y'all. First of all, she's a math teacher. So, it got to add up and make sense. You feel me? So what you about to learn has to add up and make sense. I tell people all the time, math is the truth, right? Because if it don't add up and make sense, it don't make sense, right? So mathematics is the truth. So before we go into that, what city you from? And what city you from?
I'm from New York, NYC, Tri-State. Brooklyn.
What borough?
Brooklyn, let's go.
Oh, Lord, baby Jesus.
Hey, let's go.
Okay, BK. The BX be here, but it's all love everywhere. So listen, now let me ask you a question. We got yes, sir. Okay. What's up, man? So listen, Did you always start out like when I say what was your upbringing? Was you an entrepreneur or what was your dream when you was growing up? Like what was your aspirations?
All right, so I give my dad credit for this, right? I knew he always told me like, land don't rot. That's something he raised me saying. He was saying it since I was a kid. So land don't rot. So I knew I always wanted to own property. I didn't necessarily know how to do it, but I knew I wanted to own property. Because he essentially owned property, and that's something that he instilled in us. My upbringings, I mean, I come from I got my mom's who's a nurse, my dad who's an architect, and there's a lot of like kind of like the middleman type of paperwork when it comes to the Department of Buildings and making sure that your structures are properly up to code. So like, I mean, my family, my upbringing is like hardworking, blue collar. Like we go to work every day and we trade our time for money. So I was always a hard worker, but I always had like a hustler type of like, nah, yo, I can make it easier than that. I know how to flip something, not drug related, but I know how to flip. I know how to flip. So when I was in college, I actually started flipping sneakers. Like that was my hustle. So I used to work overnight shifts when I was in grad school, and I used to work 9 p to 9 a every night, 4 or 5 days a week. I get my overtime easy, and I would take all my extra money and I would go buy sneakers. It's before I really got put on the credit heavy.
So wait, what was you working at? First of all, what was you working at? And was it minimum wage?
I was making like, it was like $8.50, $10 an hour. Like, but it wasn't that hard because I was just a home attendant like at night. So
okay, gotcha.
It was, they was sleeping. I would do my work. I write my papers and stuff during the nighttime because I was in grad school. So I still had to maintain a certain GPA in order to get my tuition paid for it. And I had to pay my rent. Like I took care of myself. So, I mean, I was working 12 hours, at least 5 days a week. And it's like, all right, yo, I'm not going to keep trading this off. So I started flipping sneakers. We had supply, but there was no demand where I was at. So I started posting my sneakers online. And I started getting clients from like Houston. I had a client in San Diego. I had a client in Phoenix, Arizona. I had a client in Tallahassee and Jacksonville, Florida. Like I was getting clientele online and flipping sneakers. And then I had local clientele that didn't feel like going to get the sneakers. And I would charge you anywhere between $75 to $150 just to stand in line for you.
Wow. Do you remember the first sneaker you actually sold?
Yes, yo. It was actually the funniest story. So, and that's actually what got me started. I went to get the sneaker for myself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a couple because I feel like these is hot. And I wasn't intending on being a flipper. But when I walked out the door, homie said, I give you $500 for anybody who got a 9.5. I just spent $140 on this shoe. I said, bro, right here. I said, bro, right here. That was my favorite customer for like 3 years. He would hit me, yo, 3, you got da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, bro, hit me. It's right here this time. I would charge him anywhere between like $180 to $250 just to cop the pair. So I'm not saying for you to actually for him to pay for the shoe. For me to get it, he had to pay me $180 to $250 per shoe.
Wow. So you would say he's your best, he was your best.
One of my besties. I ain't gonna tell y'all which type of job occupation they had, but they was my best customer.
Say less. What don't need to be said is understood. Now, what sneaker was that? What was the first sneaker?
It was the patent leather low 11s. It was the tuxedo style. So it was the inside was the white, was the black, the outside was the white patent leather, and it had the red bottoms.
So you would be the one to stand in line basically and get the sneakers.
So I would stand in line, but what I used to do is because, like I said, I had the mindset, but not everybody around me had the mindset. So I had friends, I had like even football players, like they used to always roll with me because I always cooked in college. I ain't gonna lie. You call me Chef Boy or Sheeda 3 for real. Chef Boy or 3. I was nice.
Let's go.
So I used to always make like pans of lasagna, like mad food. And I'd be like, yo, y'all coming to the store with me? They be like, yeah, you cooking? I'm like, yup. They would roll to the thing with me. They used to get in line, get the sneakers, give me the shoes, and they be food at the house. So
come on, that's that bar to that level, give somebody some food, someone to stand online. That's
all y'all gotta do. They sleep in the car. I had a Tahoe back in the day too, so it was cake. And that was a good time. Every Christmases I made like $3,000 over the weekend. Wow. And I was in college, so that's like good money for me.
Great money, right? So that's powerful. So where did we get the name Sheeda 3? I know people ask that. Where did we get the name Sheeda 3 from?
So this name is two parts. There's two parts to it. So it's always been my Instagram name, mainly because my name is Rashida and my nickname is Sheeda. So most of my family call me Sheeda, right? Especially like my little cousins, because Rashida is like 3 syllables and they more
Yeah.
kids, you know. So Sheeda was my nickname, and my jersey number in college is 3. That's my jersey number. Now, how the Sheeda 3 came up was it actually, this is why I tell people like never ever like quit in your darkest times, because sometimes that's when you're the most creative. So I want to say in 2021, I was involved in a car accident. Somebody rear-ended me. It was really bad. Like the car got totaled. It was like a 4-car accident and messed my back up really bad. Like I really couldn't do much of anything for like months. Like lift, no. Walk, no. Like drive, absolutely not. I couldn't do anything. And I was stuck in my room. I couldn't move. I still have my credit repair client. So I'm sitting on the bed doing my credit repair stuff, but it was uncomfortable for me to sit any one way too long. You know, back pain is just like, it's the worst. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And when I was in that point, one of my friends was like, yo, you should make some reels, like talking about the credit stuff, like make some posts. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make a video. And we were playing around, but I was in a car accident. I messed up my back, but I also had a black eye because I hit my head on the steering wheel. And I didn't want to show my face, which is funny because I show my face all the time now, but I didn't want to show my face. So I had made up that little meme emoji, you know, the Bitmoji thing on the phone. And this is gonna be bad, but I had took my pain medication because my back was really bothering me. Like I would say this, I was crying, I was hunched over, I didn't know what to do. I was just laying down. I took my pain pills, and I probably took too much because it was killing me. I'm just waiting for it to work. Like, please kick in somewhere. I probably was high. I don't know. So, I was up at 3:30 in the morning, and I honestly was just singing in my phone with the camera. It made me laugh. So I was just in there like credit repair tips with Sheeda 3. And I was just doing it. I had no idea. I sent all these videos to my friend. I probably sent him 7. In the morning, he called me like 10 o'clock. You're like, what the hell was you doing up at 3:30 in the morning sending me videos? They mad funny. I'm like, what videos? I remember nothing I sent him.
Wow.
Well, what videos? He said, go check your phone, yo. You're a clown. Keep doing that. I checked it. I'm cracking up. That's how it started.
That's crazy.
That's exactly how it started.
From pain to domination with I'm telling you, you're right. Because, you know, here on the podcast, man, go hard or go homeless mean anybody who's homeless and got out of homeless by going hard, or some people that are actually going hard so they never have to worry about going homeless. And these adversities will either make you or break you, right? And so what I'm hearing from you is that this accident pretty much ended your basketball career, correct?
Well, I finished playing basketball years ago, but I was working. Like I finished playing ball. I graduated college in 2012, and I retired. I was over it. But I mean, I was active. I was actually training kids, like, because I know what college coaches are looking for and what you need to do to get there. So I was training my neighbors' kids. I was active. I was working out. I was moving around. Like I couldn't even drive myself to my own physical therapy appointment because I couldn't turn left or right. Like I would sit like this, and this was it. It was my hands go just like this. For me to twist my back was a struggle. So, I mean, like it made you realize, like, yo, I need to be able to think with my mind in order to create. If I got to use my body too much, I got to figure out how to make it to where just my mind can create and not my body, because things can happen, but this got to keep working. So, I mean, out of my darkest time, that's where it came from. I could probably go back to the night I made it in my phone from the exact when I spammed him, and he was just like, yo, what was you doing at 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning? And that's where it came from.
That's fire. That's fire, guys. Listen, I'm telling you, what we talk about here, man, is very powerful, because I want you guys to know that people that are successful that's on this podcast show, they done went through something to get to something, right? We do that all the time. So understand that. Whatever you're going through, just know there is a lesson in that blessing, and understand that you got to be aware of that and move forward in it. So I heard you say you started credit repair in college, right? So first of all, we got the sneaker hustle, right? Let's talk about the sneaker hustle. From the sneaker hustle, what was the next hustle that got you to where you're doing now? What was the next thing?
So it was kind of like a ladder. So I understood when I was in college, my assistant head coach, shout out to Coach White, she told me from like my freshman year, she said, Rashida, I feel like you're going to actually do this. Make sure you make an account with American Airlines and link all your flights. right? Now, what do I mean by that? So when we travel, like unless you at like do I take a day off? Absolutely not. So when we when we travel like major schools, I don't know about it now, but when we were traveling, we didn't have like private jets all the time. Like it wasn't like we flew private. We didn't have a budget for that. So we flew commercial. And when you fly commercial as a student athlete, technically your name is on the ticket, although they paid for it. So every time we flew, you got your own individual ticket. You had to go through TSA by yourself. They check you in individually, right? So every time we flew, I would go ahead and say like, yo, can you link my number to my flight? So when I graduated, I had over 100,000, 150,000 miles collected from flights that I ain't paid for 4 years, thanks to my coach. She told a bunch of us to do it, and she said, "I feel like you're gonna be the." I remember this distinctly. She said, "I feel like you're gonna be the only one that followed through on this." And I was, because even now they're like, "Oh, did you do what Coach White said?" I'm like, "Yeah, y'all late. Like, what do you mean? We 3 years in. We are talking about. I've been collecting this joint the whole time." And the place where we were located, our school was only really American Airlines. Like we had to fly small airport, Huntington, West Virginia. So we had to connect into every airline, like every hub. So no flight was direct. So you getting extra miles because you got to go here to go there. You got to go there to come here. Like it was, man, that was probably one of the best things. She was the GOAT for that, because that's really what got me started.
We're gonna say college hack.
I've been telling student athletes like, yo, don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it.
So those who watching this in college right now in sports, you just got a major bar that's going to set you up for your adult life so you can travel like a true celebrity. With all them points, you're not even paying for travel.
You're not even paying for it. That's the ultimate hack, yo. Especially if you get the right card that's linked to that, a Barclays card, or if you got like a local Amex card, you just link that. You got the account already. You're going to be at the highest status, but by the time you actually ready to go get a job, do whatever you want to do, you're going to be at the highest status, and you didn't pay for none of it. They covered all of it. And that's why I be telling people, yo, get all you can from these institutions while you in their system. Don't let them win. You got to get everything you can out of it while you in there. So when you going, you still benefiting.
So listen, we were going to wait for this, but I mean, she started with the gems already, right? So let me ask this question, okay? I know the people want to know. We're going to start with the college level, because the people who are watching this that's in college, in sports, from football to baseball to all that.
All of them.
Listen up, college athletes. All right, so we talk about the cards that now this question is, the card that you're speaking about, can a college athlete get that right now, or should their mother or father get the card, put them on as an authorized user, or do both?
So if they're able to get it now, I would get it now. I would get in the door. You need to start practicing the habits now, right? So if you're able to get, like, for instance, if you're able to get into the Barclay family and get an aviator card, right? Say your airline hub around your school is American Airlines. I would get the American aviator card now, and hit your sign-up bonus, because most times that aviator sign-up bonus, you got to spend $1, you get 60,000 miles, you're done, right? Then you just keep collecting it on that account. So now you're getting it from your actual travels, because the school's paying for that. And to my knowledge, if you fly commercial, they still paying for it, and you still just getting the points for free. And then you just use the card responsibly. Don't go max it out, but start building your stuff now. The first thing you want to get on your credit report is a credit card, because the credit card don't close until you close it. Until you close it. So if the credit card don't close until you close it, that means that card will stay on your profile forever, as long as you keep it in good standing. But you're also racking up a whole bunch of miles from your school that's paying for it, plus whatever you're actually paying for yourself. So I would actually get the card myself, so that you can leverage it for yourself. Now, say you travel by yourself. Say you're not traveling with your school. Now you got your miles. You could pay for your flight. On top of that, most times with that credit card or that airline credit card, you don't pay for your bags. But then, because you're getting all of these free flights, these segments on your account, now you get different access to different lounges, because you got different statuses. You get upgrades for no reason, because you flying so often. You VIP to them. They love you. You know what I'm saying? They love you. So you want to stay in that family, keep getting those rewards for yourself. Don't give it away to nobody else.
Copy. Now listen, if y'all didn't hear what she said, listen. You said the Amex Aviator card, right?
The Barclays Aviator card, that's American Airlines. It depends on which hub you're around. Like if your school, like we always flew American because that was the hub next to our school.
Got you.
So we always flew American. Like it was for 4 years, every flight during fall and spring was American Airlines. So one of my first cards was a Barclay card, not even realizing it. Right. That's why I hacked this and I didn't even realize what I was doing until I started like really scaling it. I was like, oh shit, I could have did even better if I started early. So our hub was American Airlines. If your school hub is Delta, then I would start off with a low tier Delta American Express card and just graduate. If your school hub is United, then I would start off with a low tier, you know what I'm saying? Like a lower tier United hub, United Airlines card, and then just graduate as you actually start making money. I wouldn't go and say like, yo, get the highest amount card possible, and you're not ready for that. So I would start with that lower tier card, get in there, and then you can always upgrade later and all that other stuff. But I would get the airline card only because you get more benefits since you're already flying that airline for free. For at least 4 years if you're in college.
Ooh. So y'all heard it, right? Low tier card to get in the game, and then you'll elevate as your money increases. Okay, cool. So now that's the credit hack for the college and the athletes, right? We're gonna talk big spicy for, like I said, we talked about her sneaker career. We talk about her career as an athlete and leveraging the travel hacks. We're gonna talk about like what got you in the game, right? I heard you say something about credit repair. How did you get into the credit repair game, and what sparked that? And also, and when you was younger, did you have bad credit? Was your credit already good? Like, what was your situation? So we're gonna start with, is your credit bad, or what was your situation?
All right, so I would say that a lot of the things I learned from my family when I was younger was like, pay your bills on time. And then my aunt told me don't use more than 30% of your card, right? But when I got my first secure card, they gave me $300 and I drove a Tahoe. I don't know if y'all know, like putting gas in a Tahoe is like $90 to $100. And this when gas was like $4 a gallon, even back in 2010, 11. It was $4 a gallon back then too. So it was, and I still got a picture. It was like $93 to fill up this truck. And I used to always use my credit card because they said use it for stuff that you do regularly, right? So I'm like, okay, but if I use 30%, I'm already over it by the time I get groceries from my house and then I get gas. So I started back then. I never had a late payment on the card. I still had that's my oldest card. I got it in 2011. I still don't have a late payment on that card. I never really had bad credit per se, right? And then I got into some mess with this timeshare, right?
Me too.
I went and got a timeshare. I was paying on it good. Every time I tried to use it, it was a problem. I could never use it, right? Never use it. It just never worked for me. And after a while, I'm like, yo, why am I paying all this money? And every time I ask to use it, they got all these terms and conditions, what I can and can't do. I'm like, yo, I can't stand it. So I paid this lawyer group to go ahead and take care of it, right? They did nothing. They put it as a foreclosure on my report. They put it as a foreclosure. So now I ain't never had a house before. I never do none of that. But now you got a foreclosure on my report. And I didn't know. So now this is right before the pandemic really started. I want to say this is 2018. My time zones is all the way thrown off too because of the pandemic. So if my dates fluctuate, just know that everything is like 5 years ago to me. All right. So this is before the pandemic. I actually went to get a mortgage and I don't know how, but I had my Experian locked. I don't know why it was locked, but I just had it locked. And when they went to run my report, they pulled my TransUnion, they pulled my Equifax, and they said, "Oh, you good?" I was approved for like $675, based on my income, based on everything that they saw. Right? I was approved for $675,000. I could afford it. I was good. She said, "Your Experian is locked." I said, "All right, I'm gonna unlock it, run it again, XYZ." Right? She pulled it up. She said, "Yeah, foreclosure your report." I said, "How? I ain't never owned a house." She said, "Yeah, like a timeshare, a vacation house, something." I'm like, "What?" I said, "I paid a lawyer to take care of that." She was like, "Yeah, we can't approve you for nothing with that on there." I'm like, "What?" Like, y'all went from having $675,000 to play with to nothing in like a day. I
Woo.
wanted to throw up. I wanted to
Mm.
absolutely throw up. So now I'm like, I'm calling the lawyer down. I'm cussing them out. I'm calling everybody. I'm going off. I'm like, I need to get this shit off my report. And they offering me somebody for credit repair. I'm like, how you told me it wasn't supposed to get to that point, and now it's there. You offer me credit repair. I gotta pay for that shit too. I'm not paying for that.
Wow.
So I'm going off, man. I want my money back. They're like, no, we're gonna fix, it. Nonetheless, they ain't fix it. I had to fix it myself, right? I had to figure it out and figure out how to fix it myself because I couldn't get anything. Either I'm gonna let it sit there for 3 years and then I can go do something, or I can get it off and go get something now. And they're like, well, you gotta wait 3 years. I'm like, what? I gotta wait 3 years for something I didn't even know about? Like, oh man.
Crazy.
So that's really me having that conversation. I'm pissed about it. And when I get mad, sometimes I just be going off, right? So I'm getting mad. I'm pissed off. I'm talking to my friends, and they're like, "Yo, you know what? I had bad credit. I had something on my credit too." Next thing I know, we got a whole kumbaya session about credit. A whole kumbaya session about credit, and I'm like, "Why y'all ain't never mentioned this credit shit before? Like, what you mean?" And then they like, yo, whatever. So we were going through, and I'm learning about it. I'm into it more. I'm figuring out how to get stuff off, get removed. And so like the conversation just kept happening. Then everybody started saying, oh, talk to Sheeda. She know credit. Oh, talk to 3. She know credit. She got the credit. So now I'm getting text messages. I'm getting phone calls. People are being more open about it. And I'm like, oh, this is a thing. Okay. All right. Next thing I know, I got 15 people credit I'm fixing. Wow. I'm helping about 15 people out with their credit, and they're like, "Oh, my credit's not that bad." And I open, and I'm like, "Damn, you got like the work, like your shit, like you got charges, like you got, you know them CVS receipts when them joints print and just keep going."
No.
It was like, damn, you really got a list. I just had one thing. You got this scroll. So as that conversation started happening, it was like, okay, like. People started feeling more comfortable talking about it because they realized they weren't the only one.
Right.
And after like 20, it was like, yo, I can't take my time and do all of this. And then that's how the company Fresh Start United was born, because, you know, that you got to be uncomfortable in your mess and be able to just be upfront about it. And we like to hide our credit. Like, oh, I got bad credit. It's like, nah, I got bad credit. What I got to do to fix it? So if you keep hiding behind it, it's just going to keep making you cower like a punk. But when you address it, it's like, yo, you can actually address it, and it can dress it down and fix it. You get what I'm saying? So
100%.
That's exactly how that got started. Like literally, it's because I messed up, and I know a lot of people the same thing. Like something happened to you, because I didn't have technically bad credit. I had a 720, I guess, so I wasn't bad. I was okay. I understood utilization, so I understood that part, and then I started growing it. But I didn't have necessarily bad credit. I just had a problem, and it was just on that report. That's when I learned certain things too. About that. So it was just like, damn, like if that ain't happen, and that's why I said like never really be upset in your darkest moments, because that's a lot of times when you become the most creative. Because if that never happened, I wouldn't have cared. I would have got my house and kept it pushing.
Right. So this is powerful, man. I know we got some questions in the chat. We're gonna be answering questions in a second. Stay to the end. We'll be answering all your questions. I see you, Julia. It's a powerful question. So we're gonna answer questions in a second. So now you went and this hiccup made you do your own credit to where you're doing credit with 15 plus people. And then what did you learn from the credit? Because I understand we got the travel and credit card hack, right? And then before I ask that question, were you a cash is queen thing, or was you a debit card queen before you got into credit, before you understood credit? Like, was you always a debit card?
I was always using my credit card. I never really carried debit card, really cash.
So what's the benefit of somebody using their credit card versus debit card, for those who don't know?
All right.
Because I know people are scared about credit, using their credit card, so they don't use it. You know, the myth that's going on. So what's the difference between debit and credit card, and why should people use a credit card more?
All right, so I make it really, really clear, right? The reason why you're afraid to use your credit card a lot is because you feel like mentally, if you have $5,000 on your limit or $10,000, you're going to spend the whole thing. You're going to continue swiping. So the problem is really self-discipline. That's really it. Because if you understand that for the month, for your I call it your ratchet activity is what I call it. I call it ratchet activity. For your ratchet activity budget for the month is $700. Say that's $700. That's all you can really spend on ratchet activity, because that's all you have in cash to cover it. And if your mind knows you got $700 and you get to $700 and you stop spending, then you got the discipline to know, like, all right, I don't have enough cash to cover the rest of these transactions, and I'm not going to pay interest on ratchet activity. I'm not going to do that. But what happens is that we don't have the discipline to say, okay, my ratchet activity budget stops at $700. We think, oh, I'm gonna run it up and just pay it back next month. And now you're paying interest on ratchet activity, when it's like, yo, I'm not saying you can't have fun, but there's a time and a budget for everything. So as long as you actually allocate the fund for that, you can use the credit. So when it comes to using credit and using debit cards, right? I call debit cards selfish lovers. And I'm sorry if any kids is watching that, right? I call it, like, nobody likes a selfish person. Debit cards just take from you. They don't give anything back. They give nothing back. You swipe, they get paid, you get nothing, right? I like two-way financial relationships, meaning that if I give, they take. If they give, I take. We can get something. So if you're using a credit card, at least I know, one, my purchase is protected. I could call up Amex anytime and say, yo, that wasn't me. And that's happened to me before, where people took my debit card info and swiped out $300 at McDonald's. I haven't bought McDonald's in like 10 years. So that's how I know you got my debit info. It took like a month for them to really put all that money back in my account. And I didn't realize it was $300 until they started going through, like, did you do this, that, and that? I'm like, no, I don't eat KFC, White Castle. I give you gas. I don't eat that. They went through all my transactions, about $500 and something that somebody was swiping off my debit card. Now, when it came to my credit card, that would have been back there that same day. No problem, right? So I got purchase protection. You got all types of protections you get with your credit card, and all you got to do is pay it on time. All you got to do is literally go to your debit card and pay your credit card off, and you're still in the clear. But we lack the discipline to maintain the budget. That's why we like, oh, credit card put you in bad debt. How? If the credit card didn't walk to the store and swipe, you did.
Right.
The credit card didn't overspend, you did. So once you get that budget and you get that discipline within self, then it's easy to actually leverage. Okay, I got $3,000 worth of bills to pay for. I'm gonna put all of my credit cards, so now they know I can handle $3,000. I'm gonna take my cash, pay off my card, and keep it pushing. And now I'm more trustworthy with more money.
That's a bar, y'all. So listen, let me tell you how powerful what she just said is. A lot of people can do this, but they choose not to do this, right? So for instance, say you got $3,000 on your debit card and you got a $10,000 credit card. What people do, they spend past what they got in cash.
Exactly.
Right? They spend past what they got in cash and then they're going to pay it back next month. And that's where the interest accrued, right? So what she's saying is, if you got $3,000, correct me if I'm wrong, right? If you got $3,000 and you got to pay that rent with your $3,000 in cash, go ahead and pay that. Take the card and swipe and get that rent paid, and then take that $3,000 that you would have spent and put it right back on the credit card. Don't even think about using it.
Exactly what you said, because you're gonna spend it anyway. It just matters where the point of purchase is. You're gonna spend the money anyway. Your point of purchase has to be the most beneficial. I think about it like this: if I spend $1, I don't want it to be I don't know if you ever heard that saying. They say like $1 circles a Jewish community 10 times before it leaves, right? It circles a community 10 times before it leaves a community. That means that 10 people ate off that same dollar before it went out, right? I want my money to be the same way. I want it to circle 3. I want 3-4 times before it completely leaves. But if you are using debit, you're not getting that. You're not getting that.
Strong.
It's just in pocket out. Like you just walk around with a hole in your pocket and just really leaking out cash.
Fire, guy. And on top of that, she said you're getting the points, but the points turn into cash. Okay, she's gonna talk about that. Points turn into cash, and that's why she's talking about the credit hacks and the credit card hack, because those two together, you literally flying for free, eating for free, shopping for free, because those points turn into cash, and those cash you wouldn't have got anyway, right? Unless you would have used your card. Yeah, exactly. It's so crazy. When I learned this, it blew my mind. So what? So I'm gonna talk about this. I know. When I heard this from Sheeda, she said, "Can you tell them about the restaurant strategy that you do?" I mean, I heard about this restaurant strategy. It blew my head off the Richter scale. So I'm gonna just call it the restaurant hack.
All right, so it's a restaurant hack, right? It's very simple. I actually taught a couple of my members to do this, and they be going out with their family going crazy. So it started a couple, well, I don't say a couple, it was like 15 or 18 of us. We went down to this conference out in Miami, right? And we went out and we had a dinner. So we went out, we had dinner or whatever. Matter of fact, I can never find my wallet when I need to show you a trick. So anyway, we went out to dinner or whatever. We're at Prom 112. I think it's on Miami Beach restaurant.
Mhm.
Bill is crazy, right? So the bill come out to like $2,700. Now I already knew, like, I'm like, oh, it's about to be a big bill. I'm about to pay for this, right? Because I know on my American Express Gold card, I get 4 times the points for restaurants, right? And I'm all about stacking and spending. I'm gonna always spend where I get the most reward, right? I'm gonna always spend where I get the most reward. I'm
Now,
selfish.
tell people what those 4 points. What does that mean for somebody who don't even know what this means, right?
All
What
right,
is 4
so
points and how's the benefit?
So American Express credit cards, they are a two-way financial relationship. That means that if I spend $1 in a place that has a certain category, they'll give me points that I can use in the future for other things like traveling. I can use it to pay off my bill. I can use it to buy gift cards. I can use it for a plethora of things on their platform. So they reward me for shopping in certain categories with points in their portal. So for restaurants, I get 4 points every time I spend $1. So for that restaurant, the bill was about $2,700. I'm gonna round it up to 3,000 just for easy math. So the bill was about $3,000, and I get 4 points per dollar that I spend. So 4 times $3,000 is 12,000 points that I got from that one dinner. Now, depending on where I'm going to next or what my next trip is, that's technically either a round trip ticket or a one-way ticket to a destination that I just got off of a bill that was going to get paid anyway. So what I essentially did.
Hold up. Like, I need y'all to receive this. Understand this. She it's not even her 3,000. She's gonna tell you about this, but she was able to swipe 3,000 on her card, and this card gave her 4 points per dollar. So she got 12,000 points. Now that 12,000 point is, let's say the flight to a round trip is like losing points. It's like 6,000 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say she got 12,000 points from this $3,000 transaction, and that flight may cost what, $500 to $700?
It could cost. The flights could range from $200 to $700, but I don't pay for it anyway because it was already covered by the dinner.
Bingo. So now she got this point, and she just basically put back $200 to $500 back in her pocket that she didn't have to spend because the points took care of that bill, that flight bill.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. Exactly. Continue this beautiful story.
So what I did essentially was I paid, so I hit the waiter up. I'm like, look, yo, and I gave him the card. I'm like, yo, when the bill come out, just let me know how much. I said, just tell me how much it is, but take the card and pay for it. So he puts everything on the bill. He tells me the amount. I sat there, I did the math. I said, all right, we said we want to split this Dutch anyway. I just shot everybody a text like, yo, you owe me $1.50, right? I was like, you owe me like $1.50 to everybody, right? And they looked back and was like, yo, where's the bill? I said, everybody look at your phones. I'm like, yo, just Cash App, Apple Pay, Zelle, whatever. They like, yo, you got us. I'm like, they said it would be her. I'm like, who else is supposed to be? Like, y'all was slow. I told y'all this. I tell y'all, I want my points. They all just Zelle me the money. I took their money and paid back the dinner. We was all gonna pay for the dinner anyway. We wasn't gonna sit there and split that bill 18 different ways. That wasn't happening. That's dramatic. So one person pay y'all, Zelle everybody back. We good. I ain't on the level yet where I'm paying $3,000 dinners, just no problem. I ain't there yet. When I get there, I'll tell that story. But for right now, it was a group of us. We went for a conference. I did that for the whole weekend. They kept trying to figure out how to beat me to it. They kept trying to figure out how to beat me to it. I must have got like 50,000 points that weekend. I just kept doing it. It was so funny. The last one, they beat me on the last dinner. I said, damn. They caught me. But
God, you gotta understand, this is an amazing hack. And think about your next family reunion. Think about your next hangout with your friends, going on a vacation. Y'all all going to dinner on the next vacation. With this strategy right now, you could be banking in points. So the next travel trip y'all gotta take, the next whatever you gotta take, you want to go shopping, and those points can add towards the shopping bill. You literally got that piece of clothing for free because you leverage everybody else's money to get you and save you money on your bills. Exactly. If that's not a bar, I don't know what to tell you. If it's a bar and you learn something, I need to drop some flames in the chat. Drop some flames in the chat if you got something you got something new from this thing. I know I'm gonna use it. I know I'm gonna use it. Okay?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Listen, make sure they pay you before you leave the restaurant too. Don't let them pay you in the car. Send them and tell them. Make sure they do it right there.
If you're gonna get the bar, we're gonna get the whole bar. Yes. Make sure that you get paid before y'all leave the restaurant. Make sure everybody is accounted for. They were like, "Oh yeah, my car's in the car." Nah, Brody. No, sir. Right. Cash that. We got some flavor in the chat. Listen, I'm super excited about this. So we got the travel. And let me tell you something. I really want to know, like, your whole mental strategy, the mindset behind what you do, right? You teach people about travel for somebody who likes to travel. Now they can travel and literally travel for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
With these points. But what got you into the traveling and into the credit card game? And then run down all the hacks that you want to share with us right now. Because she got something I'm gonna share with y'all, but I'm gonna let you run it down.
So what really got me into it, it really started in college. And then once I understood how to leverage the points, like, it just became even more like addicting. It's honestly like addicting. Like, because once you do it and then you experience a full vacation for like nothing, like, there's no going back. Like, put it like this. I started in college and I used to get upgraded all the time. I would fly with my mom, I fly with my dad, and they'd be like, "Oh, Henriquez, your flight got upgraded." And I wouldn't know why. And then once I realized why, because my parents asked me, "How your flight always getting upgraded?" I don't know. They just like me. They like they like me. So I get upgraded. But once I started understanding what it was, I'm like, okay, well, how can I get this more in my favor? Right? Because once you realize how something works, you're like, all right, how can I make it work more for me? Because that's more my mentality. Like, I don't think of anything as a one-time experience. I'm like, all right, if this happened one time, how can I make this happen several more times? How can I make this continue to happen? And that's how I think about it. Like, how can I continue to experience this? Because I never want to go back. I never want to go back.
Right.
So once I started, it was just like, all right, I got this card, I got this card, I got that card, right? Then I kind of stopped because my dad told me I shouldn't have more than 4 credit cards. Another myth, right? Another myth playing into it. I shouldn't have more than 4. He saw my wallet. He said, "Oh, it's too much. Slow down. Too much credit, not good. Too much credit, not good. Too much credit, not good. Too much credit." And I'm like, okay. I listen to my pops. Like, he's stable. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna listen to my pops. Then I really started diving into it. And it's like, I need more credit. So I started going off. Where is my book? I got a book. I started going off. I got a book. Like,
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
So
look. We got receipts here, y'all. We got receipts here. She got a book.
It's almost fell. I got it organized because it was getting a little too much for my wallet, but I started going off because I'm like, damn, like,
wait. She said it got a little too much for my wallet. Wallet who? She had a whole book for cards. Now I know you're about to go into this because this is what we came in for, right? Like, where did you get the education to understand that you need more credit? So tell your story, but I need to know, like, what got you in that world, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry. It's crazy.
All right. So essentially, I'll tell you exactly what. So I started actually looking into helping people with their credit, right? Started having conversations. I worked at Nike for like 5, almost 6 years, right? And a lot of times I would say I was an older person there. So people always looked up to me to ask for questions on like the stock plan, XYZ. And so I used to always answer a lot of questions. And when it came to credit, they would see me pull out my credit cards and like, yo, should I get this card, that card? And then that actually, after that foreclosure thing happened, that started really dialing me into the world of credit. So I started talking about it a lot at work. A lot. Like, I was talking to everybody about it. If you ask me a question, I'll be looking up answers. I was doing a whole bunch of research. And then I stumbled upon EYL.
Shout out to EYL on your leads. Let's go.
EYL. I stumbled upon EYL. And then it just intrigued my knowledge because it seemed like when I was looking for information, I was doing a lot of research. This is before pandemic. This is probably like pandemic was 2020. So this was 2019 summertime.
Mm-hmm.
I was really looking into it, and I was working, I was going back and forth, and it was just like, all right, like how can I needed more money to do stuff. Like I was honestly looking to get properties. I was looking to actually grow. I was wanting to start this online store. I'm like, I need cash and everything. I need to cash. And I'm like, nah, I need credit. Like I need to be able to get some, like, get access to funds. I don't need cash. I need access to funds. So once I started really diving into that, I stumbled upon EY. Because when you're looking for knowledge, you'll know when the right thing hits you. Like when you're actually looking for something, you'll know when the right thing hits you because you know what you're looking for. So I knew what I was looking for. I stumbled on EYL. Then because I stumbled on EYL, I started talking about their platform. I started talking about it. And when I was talking about it to my friends, one of my friends was like, yo, I saw this guy online. His name is Him 500. I think you like him. Right. So she sent
Shout
me
out to
the
Big
link.
Five. Slim Five now, baby.
So she's like, I think you'll like them. I'm like, all right. She said, yo, check out this platform. So send me the log on, watch the videos. In 5 minutes, I swear you not, in less than 5 minutes, I understood everything he was talking about. Like this. It was like everything that I was looking for, I got the answer because I knew I was missing something. I just couldn't figure it out. Because I had bought programs before that. I had bought Jay Morrison program. It was vague. Like I still had questions. I'm like, I need answers. Right. I had got EYL stuff. I'm looking. I'm like, all right, I get it, but I'm missing something. I was just investing. I didn't care. I'm like, nah, I need to find the answer because I know once I find it, I know what I'm looking for continuously. So I'll continue to find my answer. So once I watched his thing, I was like, that's it. Boom. It was over. It was over. I went crazy. I went and got myself like 150,000 in personal, 100,000 in personal, 150,000 in business. I went crazy and I just kept going. I'm like, that's exactly what I was missing. Scaled, went crazy. So it's really like when people tell me like, yo, oh, you did that, you paid that for that. I'm like, yo, I want to say, I don't even know how much it was in the beginning to get started. I'm like, I've seen the returns from that in knowledge, connections, and getting in different rooms that I would never have seen if I had never became curious.
That's right.
So that curiosity I had, that really is what propelled it because I was looking, like I'm telling you, I was YouTube University, I was Google search, I was Instagram, I was on Clubhouse, I was on Twitter, I was on every platform you could think of looking for answers, Facebook groups, looking like, yo, what is this? I cannot figure this stuff out. How are they using the credit? How are they doing this? How are they? Boom. It was over.
And you see all those avenues led them to the avenue where you had to pay to get in the right room to learn the execution information that allowed you to be who you are now, where you're sharing how to win with the credit card game and travel for free like true royalty, right? This is the key, right?
That's
so
say
it again.
So this reparations for real.
Reparations. Let's go. Listen, but I've never seen anybody with a book instead of a wallet. Okay, that's one. Two. So now you have this. Now you then accumulated 150,000 in personal, 150,000 in business. What kind of discipline did you put in place to make sure that you wouldn't just blow it because you have it? I know people like, man, I'm scared to have that kind of money around me because I'm gonna blow it. Do you like was it a certain discipline you put around yourself, or was it hard to be disciplined, or what do you tell your mentees when they start to get those kinds of lines of credit, or just, at all, right? How do you manage that?
I'm very strict on budgeting. I'm very strict on it. Anytime I get lackadaisical with it, I can see how my mind fluctuates. But I'm real strict on budgeting. That's why I mention it a lot. People like, oh, it's not sexy enough. I'm like, yo, you know what's not sexy? You know what's sexy? Not being in stupid debt. You know what's not sexy? Being in stupid debt, right? So I'm real strict on budgeting. And as long as you allocate the funds, and that's why I said I have ratchet activity funds, because if you don't allocate time or money for it, when you get the time to do it, you're gonna blow it. Like you're gonna splurge because you feel like you're missing out. But I allocate stuff. Like I allocate money for me to say, okay, I'm gonna spend this amount of money a month on things that I want to, or whatever. Like that's just throwaway. I don't care if it's spent or not. Like if it's not spent, great. If I spend it, it's not digging into my bottom line and it's not digging into my growth. So I'm very big on budgeting. I went over it one time on a live. I'm like, listen, have 4 accounts. Have one for a ratchet activity fund. Exactly. Have a ratchet activity fund. I'm big on having an account just for expenses. Just have an account just where, all right, maybe $100 or $200 over, but everything under that, all your expenses come out of. So all your credit card bills should get paid out of this one account, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now once all your expenses get paid out of this one account, now you know how much money you have left over. And then you have an account for savings. I'm not a big person for leaving a whole bunch of money in the bank because bank gives you like 0.000000001% interest. Like it's ridiculous. But have something in there so that you have access to cash if you need to. Then have a section for investing because you have to invest. You have to figure out a way on how to have your money grow for you. Like you have to. If you're not, you're working every day to continue to work every single day. And then the fourth one is your ratchet activity fund. I like that. I'm stealing that. Yeah.
Only have to go hard to go home with podcast.
I'm stealing that. Having a ratchet activity fund because you're gonna want to go on vacation, you're gonna want to go shop, you're gonna want to do certain stuff. But like if you feel like you're limiting yourself from doing that, when you get the opportunity to do it, you're gonna OD. You're gonna like bad analogy, but I'm gonna use it. You know how like people like they said the last time they do the drug, they OD because they feel like they're missing out. They're gonna be missing out. So you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. So you might as well just put something aside for it. If you don't use it this month, you got more the next month.
Right.
This month, you got more the next month. So you put something aside for it, but you allocate where your money goes so that you know, okay, bet I only got $200 for ratchet activity this month. If I use 150, I only have $50 left. So if somebody comes and asks me, if it's the first week of the month, I got $50 left, I might tell you no because I don't got it right now. And I have to be okay with the fact that I don't got it right now. You got to be okay with like, yo, I don't got it right now. Just be real with that. I got $50 for the rest of the month. I'm not spending it on brunch with you. I'm good. I'll wait till ask me the last week of the month. I'll go out then. You got to be okay with that. Like you got to be okay with saying no.
That's powerful. Now this is crazy because what you're saying makes massive sense, right? And the question that around that is, because people don't have this plan. That's why they're scared to do their credit, right? Now you talked about. And there's a big myth that's going on, and a lot of people need to understand this, right? The big myth is just pay the minimum or pay a little bit above the minimum so that you can X, Y, Z, so that you have so you can be in good standing with the credit cards, right? But you said something of I don't like to pay interest on my money, right? So can you talk about the myth of that and what really needs to happen to have great credit history with these banks and great credit profile?
So listen, I don't like to pay interest on ratchet activity. Like, I'm not going to pay extra money for something that happened 3 months ago. Like that's like me going back to the store and say, "Oh my bad, I forgot to pay you extra $10 for what? Oh, but for nothing." Like I'm not doing that. So in that case, like when now that one of the hacks is you never want to become in a bank category that you always pay the minimum because that's going to inhibit you getting increases in the future. So if you do end up in a bind, you never want to always pay the minimum. I say pay $1, $2, $3 over the minimum. So you never end up with that minimum bank rating. Okay.
What's the minimum bank rating? What's that?
Like, so it goes in a system that you're just in this tier. Like if you always pay minimum payments, then you're in that tier. So when it's time for credit line increases, why would they increase you if you've been paying minimum payments this whole time?
That's crazy because people thinking if I pay the minimum, I'm good still.
No, you're on time, but your rating is trash now. They're not gonna actually reveal this. I got told this because I have a certain relationship, and they were like, "Yeah, it looks bad." Like it just people who pay off their cards in full, their bank ratings are fire because now when it's time for credit line increases, the bank already sees that you have a habit of paying off your bill. You're not gonna be over leveraged. But if you're always paying a minimum, that means technically you over leverage because you can only afford to pay the minimum. Because why would you pay only the minimum if you could pay it off?
People thinking that, I want to leverage my money, so I just pay the minimums, and I can have more money, disposable cash, or disposable, whatever. And I when I found out that was incorrect, right? They actually people that pay their cards off. I seen a documentary on the banks, and people that actually pay their credit cards off every month. The banks call them deadbeats. The banks you can look this up, deadbeats, meaning because they can't get no money from you. Like a deadbeat dad, they can't get no money from the the deadbeat dad, they mad at you because they can't get no money from you because you paying off the credit cards on time. So it's amazing how you said I'm not giving them no free money just because I didn't pay it off. And the cool thing about the credit card, once you pay it off, it becomes available immediately, depending on the credit card, right?
You got access to it again.
So you really ain't losing by not paying it. You're not losing by paying it off. It's like you took the money out of your bank account, paid it off, and now it's available again.
We just like to see, and I don't know if it's like a cultural thing, but we just like to see money in our account. We just like to open the account and see a high checking balance. I don't care for that no more. I really don't. I don't personally. I remember when I was like, oh, I like to see my savings account look a certain way. And now I'm like, man, I need that money to be doing something. Like, it's lazy sitting in my account. That thing got no traction. So when it comes to that, right, you want to make sure that you're paying it off, but you also want to make sure that you're not over leveraging yourself in that way. So to answer your question, Trill, is like, you want to make sure that, one, you're not just always paying your minimums, because you can see it on the credit card bills. It tells you that if you pay a minimum balance, how much interest you'll be paying over time toward this institution. I'm not doing that. That's goofy to me. I'm not doing that. If I'm gonna be paying interest, I want that money to be going to something that's gonna pay me back, not that's gonna pay them back. Because they love that. They love that. And they trying to, I mean, I feel like they low-key trying to trap you, but all you gotta do is be smarter than them. It's a credit game, and we gotta learn how to play the game by the rules, right? Like, later tonight, I'm gonna play Monopoly or Uno. We got a Uno set at my house, right? And we got house rules and we got the real rules. But we always gotta know how to play the game by the rules so that we can win. If you don't know the rules, then you can't win the game. And I'm gonna be 100%. Credit is definitely a game. We were taught the wrong rules. The myths became the truths, and the myths are not the truth. And once we understand what the true rules of the game are, you can use it to leverage to get whatever you need. Like, it's really simple, but we got to have discipline. That's really what it is. People say, oh, credit got me in debt, da-da-da. No, you got yourself in debt. You didn't have any discipline. You let it get out of control. Oh, I did this, that, and the third. Yeah, but if you would have had yourself in a better situation, that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
That wouldn't have happened.
Right. Awesome. Listen, like I said, we got a couple questions. I want to definitely get this question answered. I know we got a question from Hajkel. Hajkel says, do you feel different about zero APR cards?
I love zero APR cards.
Why?
I love them. So zero APR cards, I use them like crazy, right? So zero interest cards, I love them because that means I could use their money and not pay no interest for a certain amount of time. And those are the cards I don't care about paying the minimums on, especially on the business side. Actually, only on the business side. Only on the business side do I not care about paying the minimums. I'll pay a little bit over and them cards is paid. But I love them because that means that I can use your money, especially if I go get 20, 30, 40,000 from you. I can use 40K and I don't have to pay you back no interest. That means whatever investment I'm going to use that money for, it's like me saying like, yo, Trills, let me borrow 40K real quick. I'm going to pay Trills back 40,000 exactly and I could keep everything else. Oh, hell yeah. I love zero interest cards.
Wow.
I put them suckers to work. I put them things on the block. Them things go to work.
This is crazy. So you guys, listen, we got things that's going on here, and I don't want to keep Sheeda, but we got things going on here. She has a course, but I want to talk about this card that she has that I just got. It's called Bilt, right? One of the cards that she talks about is called Bilt. Now, for those who know what Bilt is, if you want to know more about that card before she starts talking about it, text the word Bilt, B-U-L-I-T.
No, B-I-L. Hope I put it B-I-L-T.
Oh, B-I-L-T. Excuse me. We're getting corrected right now. B-I-L-T.
B-I-L-T.
Text the word B-I-L-T to 470-333-1430. Bilt. B-I-L-T. Right on the screen. 470-333-1430. And we're going to send you access to get this card. Now, Sheeda, what is Bilt and how powerful is this card to have in your arsenal?
All right, let me bring this card out. Let me bring it out. First page, right? First page. It's right. It's right here. Take out.
Sheesh.
All right, so this card right here is actually one of my favorite credit cards in my wallet. And I didn't understand how powerful this card was until I met the owner, the guy the CEO, founder of the program, right? It's the first credit card to ever allow you to pay your rent, which is the biggest. It's the biggest expense for like every renter is your rent. You pay your rent and you do not pay credit card fees. So you can pay your rent and not pay credit card fees. Now, typically, if you pay your rent right now, you're paying 2.9%, 3% on whatever your rent is, right? So it could be $140, $80, $90. In addition, if you want to get the points. Because I know people who are like, yo, I swipe my credit card, my Amex Gold, because I want the points. And I'm like, damn, how much you paid in fees? I literally just helped somebody the other day. He's like, yo, I pay like $120. I'm like, geez, that's like you just paid your rent with a card just to end up paying an extra $120 on some rent you was gonna pay anyway. But the card essentially allows you to not pay fees because it goes through like a check, but they debit the money from your credit card balance and you just pay it off. Now, that's just that's the biggest benefit of the card because it's the only credit card that allows you to do that. The only one on the market. No other card gives you that benefit. The second reason why I like that card is because as you're paying your rent, you're collecting points. Now, you're getting the points anyway, and you're getting them for free because you didn't have to pay for your rent. You didn't have to pay the fees for your rent. Also, you're thinking yourself like, yo, my landlord is an old man or they don't have no technology or nothing. All you got to do is let them know and Bilt is going to send them a check and still take the money out your card. So either way, you're still getting points. Right? I get so excited when I talk about it. All right. So then that's another thing. Another thing that they do is that they actually, you ever heard of rent reporters?
Yeah. Yep.
So rent reporters, you got to pay for, right? Bilt will report your rent to the credit reporting entities for you for free.
All three bureaus or?
Just for having a card. Just for having a card. So now you don't need to pay rent reporters. Not at all. Now you're collecting all of these points that you was going to, for money that you was going to spend anyway. So if you were spending with a debit card, you spent with your checking account, your debit card, and you got nothing. And the reason why you paid with your debit card is because you said your credit card was charging you fees. Now this credit card don't charge you fees. So now you're getting spends on a credit card that don't charge you fees. You're able to grow your credit limits because of this transaction. Because if your rent is $2,000, you're hitting $2,000 every single month, and you're getting points that you could transfer to any one of their partners. They have very similar partners to American Express and Chase. To be honest, in my top 3 for cards right now is Chase, Amex, and Bilt, because the partners are all the same. They're all the same. So if I can't get into Chase, I can get the Bilt card and still get some of the same Chase partners as if I had a Chase credit card.
Wow.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, like the programs they have in there, like they even have right now that you could stack your points up and put it towards a rent payment in the future. So now using your rent to pay your rent. It's just a
wait. Say that again. Go round that back.
So as you're collecting your points, right? Your points are just not transferable. You can use them to pay your rent as well. So if you wanted to say like, all right, yo, I paid a year's worth of rent, you might have a year's worth of points that you can put towards your rent now. So now your rent is paying your rent.
Only on Go Hard or Go Home is podcast.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I'm like, debit cards are trash because you can't really do that. You can't do that. You can't go ahead and circulate that dollar like that. You can't do that. So that's why I really love that program, because it's just different, and it's the only card that's doing it. If there's another card doing it, yo, hit me up and be like, 3, you a dead lie. I found one. But I've done my research, and it's the only one in the game. First one ever. And it's only 1.5 years old. Like, this card is, when I found it, it was about 13 months. And when I say I met the owner, he's like, nah, I want to change the credit card game forever. Like, I want to change it. And he's really for the people. A lot of programs that he starts is for helping people. And this is really for helping renters, because it's your biggest bill and you're not getting any credit for it. Nothing. But now you can.
2 questions. One, Haji Kells, he come with the 5 question. Can you pay other people's rent too with your card? I
haven't tried it, but go ahead, try it. Because all it does is when you do the points, it gives you a ACH number and a routing number. You cannot use it to pay your mortgage. You cannot use it to pay a mortgage. Okay. When that becomes available, trust me, you will hear me scream it from the rooftops. You cannot use it to pay your mortgage. But I would try it on somebody else's rent portal. I would definitely try it.
So there you go. You might have a whole nother. We know we go hard over here, right? So we don't go homeless. Now, at your own risk, okay? I don't want nobody come back saying
exactly.
we told you to run a bag up, right?
Could try it.
You know, it is what it is. But that's crazy enough for mortgages. So for homeowners, I'm sorry, but if you got children that's paying rent, right? You got family that paying rent.
They paying you rent.
Oh,
if they paying you rent, they should have the card because Bilt is gonna send you the check, and they get points. That's how you build a profile too, because you really got to think about it. Like you're like, oh, well, I don't spend that much on my credit card. Well, you could, because they want to do transactions. That's why people's credit cards get closed because they don't use them.
Exactly. Right, guys, you guys understand that's another myth. If you think I'm gonna just buy gas and after that I'm not gonna use the card because I don't need the card. You don't use it, you lose it. What you don't use, you lose. Same thing with bank accounts, right? You don't use bank accounts, they close the bank account now, right? So you got to be in the habit of using it, not just for the minimums. You got to think about it. I want to use it to get as much points as possible to what? Live a free lifestyle, live a discounted lifestyle. That's what the travel and credit card hack is designed for, to not pay out of pocket, but pay out of profit, so to speak. And the profit is from utilizing these cards, and they're giving you something for it, right? They're giving you something for it. So why are we not going to leverage? Because wealth is like this. It's not about how much you spend. It's also how much you keep. That also increases your income, okay? Because if you ain't got to spend it out, that's more money you get to keep. That's more money you have available. So these hacks are designed to what? Live a free lifestyle, travel for free, eat or do everything for free, or heavily discounted, okay? And it's crazy. With this Bilt card you just put us on, I already ordered mine. They said welcome to Bilt. This is before we came on the podcast.
It's a dope box too. They give you this joint. I kept mine. I like packaging. Sometimes packaging is sweet. You get a card like this. I don't know if you see it. You see it say Bilt.
I see it, Bilt.
And then they go ahead and they give you right. Then they give you the booklet. I don't know if I messed it up. They give you the booklet right here, and you go through it, and they show you everything. They show you everything inside the booklet, right? It comes just like this. Card came right here. Once I scanned it, it activated it. Boom. Come a little sexy holding. And then
is there any requirements to get the card? Can anybody get the knife in the card?
I would make sure I got, good credit. I wouldn't go with collections, charge-offs. Anytime I apply for credit cards, I don't really want to apply, especially higher tier credit cards, because this is a World Elite credit card, right? This is not just a regular MasterCard. It's a World Elite MasterCard, right? That means that's my highest tier MasterCard. You got regular MasterCards where there's nothing. You got World, which is just like, an upgrade. You get in the club, you got a little barricaded section. Then you got VIP, right? And World Elite is a VIP section. So it's a higher tier MasterCard. So I will always want to make sure my profile is correct when I go and apply. Utilization low and things like that. I don't want to apply with no crazy charge-offs, collections, recent late payments. Like, you don't want to do that. So I would just make sure my profile is set.
Copy. Awesome. I know I have a couple questions and we're gonna wrap it up. I know Shaquille Dillard back up. He said how to get move. Okay, how to
get more approvals and less denials in your building stages of your credit. All right, that's a really good question, Shaq. Very good question. So how to get more approvals. Now, the way when you're building your credit, you want to always make sure that you can put on good things when you can do it yourself, right? So I talk about this a lot with parents adding their children as authorized users, right? That's the easy way to go ahead and build your credit the right way. But that means that people around you got to be responsible, right? Which is, if you don't have that, that's okay. Don't worry, we'll build it somewhere else. So now you got different credit cards. Now, one that I always like to talk about are student credit cards, because they get you in the door no matter what. A student credit card, you're going to get approved no matter what. It's just now what you do with it after you get it. So now you got a student credit card. You want to make sure that you are keeping that credit card less than 10% every single month, that you can graduate, right? Now you got a student credit card. You might, if you're in college, you got a student loan. Now, student loans are not bad unless they're reporting negatively, because most time, 9 times out of 10, that's the first installment account that you have on your credit report, unless somebody gave you a car right out the gate, right? So now you want to get more approvals. Now, when you're applying for credit cards, you want to understand where which financial institutions are pulling from what and what your strong points are. So I'm not going to go apply for the highest tier credit card that Chase has if I got 2 accounts and 1 loan. I got a naked profile per se. I want to build up to that. So I'm going to go for my mid-tier cards. I like credit unions. Now I'm going to go get me some credit union cards that give me higher limits, maybe $1,000, maybe $5,000, maybe $10,000. And I'm going to build like that. So I'll start with the student credit cards, keep that for a good while. If you can't get a student credit card, then you're going to have to get a secure credit card that converts to an unsecured. Always make sure it converts, because if not, you'll keep your credit report with training wheels on for a very long time. You don't want that. You a grown ass man walking around with that bike with training wheels, you look crazy. Okay. So you want to make sure that your secure card converts to unsecured. Now you got that. If you got the student cards or you got the secure credit card, your next step is to get a mid-tier card, a tier 2 bank, or maybe a tier 1 bank's lower card like Chase Freedom or like the American Express Everyday or the City Custom Cash. You want to get the mid-tier cards and then build now to the higher tier, Chase Sapphire Reserves, Platinums, Golds, City Prestige, Capital One Venture X. You want to graduate to the Navy Flagship, the Black card, right? You want to go ahead and graduate yourself to the higher tier cards in stages. So then now you got a little bit of each, but then now once you get the big boys, you can get anything you want because you certain that you can grow through them levels. So that's how I would do it to not get denials. I have not got denied for a credit card since I started, because I understand what they're looking for and how I'm going to go and navigate that. Hopefully that helped.
And that's an amazing answer to an amazing question. We have another question from Haji Kel. That boy got them heater questions coming in. Haji, he says, so if you run a business and lease a space, you can use the Bilt card too?
I don't think so. Because it depends on the portal, but I don't think so. Like they have to have a renter's portal. I mean, you could call it customer service and ask them like, oh, I need y'all to send me a check to XYZ, but I don't think so. It's more for personal renters.
Yeah, build up personals, right? Yep, cool. Now, on that as well, this is free game, right? On the podcast, baby. But so Miss Shedah3 has an actual mentorship. Okay, if you guys want to know more about how the details, the breakdowns, the 1, 2, 3s of how to do exactly what she's been talking about, traveling for free, hacking these credit cards, knowing which credit cards you need to start with for your specific situation, you want to make sure you tap into get this course. And so on the podcast, she gave us a love price, man. I mean, it's love. Okay, so here we're gonna do. We want to text the word hack to 470-333-1430. Text the word hack to 470-333-1430 to get access to the link to go ahead and join her course. Now the course is what, $495 right now?
$497. That's the
$497, guys. With this code, okay? Trust me. This is one of them things you don't want to miss.
Actually, I gave y'all even more love.
I know it was like 1,500 before, so you know what I'm saying.
I gave you even more love because this is this travel hacking course, right? This travel hacking course is for the people who like, yo, I don't know which credit cards to start with. I don't know what I'm doing, or I know I want to travel, right? This course is essentially for that person that you want to get started, but you don't know how to start. So I got you. I'm breaking it all the way down A to Z, right? So this course is $497. But for your people, if they use the code Go Hard, they get a half off.
Sheesh. So text the word hack. Matter of fact, let's change it up. Text the word Go Hard to 470-333-1430. And then when you get to the sign up page, put the word Go Hard to get it for the happy.
You got to use the word Go Hard. I put it in there just for you.
You got to use the word Go Hard.
Okay? Go hard
when you sign up to when you get the link for the 50% off. Okay, sheesh. Listen, if you guys found this podcast valuable, I need you to drop 100 in the chat. Those who are listening to the podcast on all of our podcasting streams, you can tap in with us live, like everybody here. They were tapping to ask their questions, so you can actually understand how powerful it is to tap into Go Hard Go Home is live by going to GHGH Podcast Live every fourth Sunday of the month. Listen, Shedah3 done drop amazing stuff, amazing sauce. The bars is crazy, but we got to bring her back, right? I can't hold it too long. She got people she got to go and impact. We're gonna bring her back. If y'all want her to come back, text the word hack to take the word hack, but in that word you put again in the comment. Okay, so hack again, and we're gonna see if we can bring her back on. Hack again.
We're gonna talk about some more stuff when I come back.
Sheesh. I'm gonna give you just right now, give you something just so you guys can digest what we see today. All right.
Can I give you some? Can I give y'all something?
Please do.
All right, listen, right? So imagine this. You've been paying your rent for 3 years, right? You're paying your rent and you got 100,000 points in your wallet. What you gonna do with that? First thing you're not gonna do is go and buy a shirt. Do not use it, right? But imagine if those points, you could take that and take 4 vacations to anywhere you want. Imagine going to Bahamas and only spending $100 just on food. Staying at a 4 or 5 star hotel, traveling first class. Because I don't really like I'm telling y'all right now, the reason why I started really talking about it is because I don't feel like any of us really deserve to sit in the back by the toilet. Not by choice. It's smelly back there. There's always a line. It's uncomfortable. Okay. Exactly. You trying to get to the back. They sitting leaning in the chair. They got their butt by your shoulder. That's uncomfortable. I don't think that anybody should have to experience that if they don't have to. But if I can leverage credit card points and I can get to the front and I can go ahead and get upgrade. You know how many times they upgrade my hotel room? Oh, thank you for being so-and-so. Listen, status matters. Okay. And I want to help y'all go ahead and get the highest statuses, point blank period. So y'all can experience traveling on a luxurious level for nothing. I don't pay for it. I don't think y'all should either.
How you gonna drop the spice like that? These people like, I need to get like that too. Listen, let me tell y'all, man. This is the whole purpose of traveling and the credit card hacking. It's to hack you to the front of the line. It's to hack you. You may be living average, but you traveling luxury, right? You may be staying in places where you need to play and get that experience. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's go, like Roman said. Let's go. All right. So, like I said, go ahead and tap in. We already gave you the 2 things. You want the Bilt card? Text the word Bilt to 470-333-1430. If you want the course, text the word Go Hard to 470-333-1430. And when you get to the sign up link, and it says coupon, type in Go Hard. One word. Go Hard. Oh, space. Okay. Go hard. Yes. Go hard. Go hard. And you'll get the discount. All right. Listen, Sheeda, I thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. This has been an amazing podcast, as I knew it would be. I know I'm gonna bring you back. Any final word before we go?
Listen, be disciplined. No one-way financial relationships. And anytime you feel like life is hard, get creative.
Ooh. And like I always say, guys, be great because you are great. You know what time it is. Time to go hard or go homeless. Let's go.
I remember being homeless. And that's the moment I decided to go hard.